Hey everyone, welcome back to the Vinyl Brotherhood. I have this new Cloud Nothings album with me. I think it's going to be a really interesting one, so I would be delighted, no, honored, if you join me as we discuss it and analyze it. So get comfortable and we'll get started here momentarily. Thanks for joining us for our latest review, everyone. I hope you're all doing A-okay. So I've spent the last few weeks diving into a lot of new music, and at the top of that pile, it was an album by a band that I've been listening to for years and that I really enjoy. It seems like just yesterday, Dylan Baldi and his friends were the underdogs with a big future ahead of themselves. They made a huge impression on the scene about a decade ago, if not a little more, with a couple of classic records, and they've stuck around, treating us to their signature sound every couple of years or so. And this is their new album, Final Summer. These days, I feel like I have a pretty clear idea of what to expect from a Cloud Nothings album, but they've taken some left turns in the past, and who knows, maybe they'll surprise us again. But there's only one way to find out, right? Why don't we take this LP over to the record player and get started? Are we ready to take a look at this beautiful album cover? This is a very Cloud Nothings album cover, just a random landscape photo, track listing on the back, more or less what we were expecting. But you should take a look at this vinyl. It is clear with an orange splatter and looks wonderful. I'm trying to be careful with it. Yeah, I don't know how well the camera captures that, but it's nice to look at. I'm sure it looks great on the turntable as well. So, all right, Cloud Nothings Final Summer. It seems that the band is operating as a trio these days, and that isn't usually the case, but it's not the first time either. Guitarist and vocalist Dylan Baldi, obviously this is his brainchild, as it has been since the very late aughts. Chris Brown is on bass, a role he took on after the departure of the former bassist, and he was on guitar leads before that. And of course, Jason, the band's drummer. I won't be attempting to pronounce his last name this evening, but he is in fact the Cloud Nothings drummer, and a very good one at that. Pull up any live performance, chances are the top comment is going to be someone praising the drum work. Together, these guys produce a highly recognizable brand of like garage, noise rock, punk, a sound that they have spent album after album refining, and all good albums too, but in my opinion, with every subsequent album, the novelty has kind of started to wear off a little, and I'd go into each new one with certain expectations, proceed to get them all met, enjoy for a couple days, and then just move on with my life. They've definitely put out some good work, but I don't know that these later albums have had quite the same staying power, but perhaps I'm just speaking for myself, and perhaps not. I mean, not even the presence of legendary producer Steve Albini, who I believe passed away this week, so may he rest in peace. Not even he could help their previous effort, The Shadow I Remember, from sliding into near immediate obscurity. There's a special established formula that can be expected on any and every Cloud Nothings album, including Final Summer, but I still think it's fundamentally a good formula. There is a special objective something there that is probably always going to work for me. The obstacle Dylan Baldi and co have been faced with is, how do we make this new again? Well, one of my biggest takeaways from Final Summer is that the band is actively trying to figure that out themselves. The final result seems, in my opinion, their strongest album in years. While they've reliably given us a handful of more than worthy songs over the years, Final Summer is the first whole album that has felt like more of a complete, impactful, and memorable experience. Maybe it came at the right place and time for me, and you'll have to let me know what you think, but I also think that the band hasn't sounded this invested in their own work in a good while. There's like a renewed vigor on these tracks that's almost tangible, almost as if to announce the bold new direction to the listening audience. The opening title track kicks off with a bright and glittery synthesizer before propelling us into full-on riffy punk pop territory. And to my surprise, we're sounding somewhat optimistic. It's definitely in the music, but lyrically, Dylan seems determined to leave behind the darkness, those bad, bleak times. And the obvious example being running through the campus, right in the middle of the album, in which he muses, "Can you believe how far I've come?" And it does have a vibrant, feel good, like summery vibe to it. Almost what I describe as Tony Hawk Pro Skater music. And there's plenty more where that came from. So even the more relatively heavy tunes like Mouse Policy and On the Chain sound surprisingly vivid and full of life. We reviewed their classic album Attack on Memory early last year, and if you remember, we filmed that one in black and white to help capture the vibe a bit. Well, that wouldn't be appropriate here. Without trying too hard or even slightly approaching bubblegum, Cloud Nothings churn out the sweeter melodies, the brighter chords, and an unexpectedly sanguine outlook. Their COVID-era album, The Black Hole Understands, attempted this kind of thing. I would argue that Final Summer is the more successful effort of the two. At the very least, I would say they sound much more confident in how they present their motifs on this record. Songs like the simple but powerful Golden Halo and Thank Me for Playing boast urgent, lively guitar leads, and that's really just the tip of the iceberg. Cloud Nothings has always come with a blistering and relentless rhythm section, and I can wholeheartedly say that Jason's playing style, he's made it his own. You could recognize it anywhere. The beating the snare drum to a pulp, the breakneck tempo, putting the tom to good use. I respect it. It's hardly a Cloud Nothings album without Jason's drums, and thankfully we have it in abundance on Final Summer. And you know what? Everyone's performances on the record are on point. Not like that's atypical of a Cloud Nothings project, but again, something about these particular songs seem to draw out the best in these guys. They sound inspired again, and it's not hard to pick up on that when you listen. However, not everything on the album resonated with me. Some songs are clearly stronger than others, and a couple other songs just simply didn't serve the album's sound and story. Most notably track 2, Daggers of Light. While sounding like a slight regression, it also comes across as somewhat stale melodically. And seeing as the album ramps up from there, it's a shame that this song kind of hurts the album's momentum so early on. And there are a couple of overused chord progressions on the record that don't feel like anything substantial until the vocals or the lead melodies or some other element kick in, and it can feel like a chore to sit through those sometimes, but that's just a minor nitpick. And I should also point out that there is nothing on this record that is so incredibly ambitious as their now classic Wasted Days or Pattern Walks. But to be honest, those songs seem like a direct product of the bleak existential angst of that particular era in the band's life. And I have a hard time imagining the glimmery, summery version of such a song on an album like Final Summer. But at the end of the day, I just don't think it really needs it. In fact, if I were to give the gentleman over at Cloud Nothings one word of unsolicited advice, I'd say to stray even further from those conventions. Just don't work yourself into a corner, guys. Final Summer is a welcome shift in direction, and I think it makes a good argument for something even more extreme the next time. I want to hear the Cloud Nothings album that hasn't been made yet, you know? Think of how drastic a departure Attack on Memory was following the first couple of albums, and I think I'd embrace that kind of mid-career detour album. But again, what these guys specialize in, they do very well, and arguably a much needed reorientation for the band was necessary. So all in all, I'm very pleased with the album. It has renewed my interest in the group, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So they showcase a different side of themselves, introduce some fresh themes. The production is on point as well. They don't always sound this dynamic and polished, but they do so without compromising any of the raw energy and aesthetic that we have come to love them for. So yes, it's a very solid listen. I'll be giving it a few spins over the next few days, and that I can guarantee. So I'm looking forward to see where they go from here. And those are my thoughts, and all that we have left is to head back and present the final verdict. So let's head that way. So those are my thoughts on the album. Will Final Summer match the heights of cultural relevancy that Attack on Memory and Here and Nowhere Else did? Honestly, I doubt it, and that's not by any fault of their own. The world just moves on sometimes, but for those of us that have clung to this band year after year, Final Summer proves that our patience has not been for nothing and that Cloud Nothing still have plenty of greatness to offer. Now, if I were to score this album, I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's only gotten better and better for me after repeat listens, and I'll be happy to hang on to it for a while as we approach the warmer months. And now, I get to ask you all what you thought about it. You know what to do. Head down to those comments and chime in. And if you're a big Cloud Nothings fan, allow me to direct you to our review of Attack on Memory if you'd like to reminisce a little bit. We'll throw the link in the description for you. And that's about all I've got for today. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We appreciate your time and your viewership, and we hope you'll keep checking back because we've got some more reviews lined up, and I'm pretty stoked about them. So I guess we'll see you then. Have a good one. Yeah, that's it.